Let's talk about one of the biggest reasons why so many ads out there suck so badly, right? It's an amazing thing that there are so many marketers out there who talk the big game. They're like, I'm a media buyer, I'm a marketer, and they just suck at the basics of marketing, right? When they run ads, they just land flat. They're not exciting. They're not engaging. They don't really resonate with anybody, okay? Now, the purpose of this video is not to, you know, shit on other advertisers, other marketers, or be overly negative. It's really to hit on the fact that what I think is going to be one of the greatest skills, probably the only skill that's going to be still left in our industry in a few years, is the ability to think creatively and come up with angles, right? The idea of like there's so many people I meet who I ask like, "What do you do?" And they're like, "I'm a marketer, I'm an advertiser, I'm a media buyer." And I kind of dive a little deeper and like, well, what do you do on a daily basis? So many individuals who like just do Facebook ads call themselves marketers. They call themselves advertisers. But what they're really doing pretty much 98% of the time is stuff that AI is going to be able to do. Stuff that pretty much basic kind of machine learning, basic software can already do, meaning they can create a campaign, they can create audiences, they can put up ads inside the audiences, they can duplicate things, they can use automation rules, right? All of that technical stuff isn't going to move the needle anymore. The people who are making fortunes right now and have always made fortunes and will continue to make fortunes, even with the advent of AI and better machine learning, all this stuff, are those individuals who are true marketers, who truly understand how to think outside the box, how to come up with unique angles, unique ads, unique creative that really stands out. Okay. That is the X factor. That is what's going to give you those massive returns, right? When you see these brands that blow up, they don't blow up because they had a media buyer who's really good at the technicals. That's not why brands blow up, right? A lot of brands blow up because they hit on a USP, they find a unique audience to talk to, and they resonate with that audience, right? So the purpose really of this video is not to get too deep into coming up with angles and all that stuff, but to speak about something a little more abstract here. And that thing is being polarizing. And if you follow me for more than a few months, you know that I've talked about being polarizing quite a few times over the years because we run a lot of businesses in the political space, in industries and markets where polarization comes with the territory. And I can tell you firsthand, having run tens of millions of dollars worth of political ad spend since 2016, that political ads get insane engagement. Every single ad we put up for our political brands, the amount of likes, comments, shares, debates that happen on those ads are staggering, right? The organic reach we get for our ads is staggering, right? And that dramatically helps us make more money and be more profitable with our ads because we're not paying for a lot of the reach, right? We're paying to get it out there. And then all of a sudden, debates happen on the ads and it spreads. Now, back to the point here. I'm not saying you need to be political with your business. I'm not saying you need to run political ads. But what I'm saying is think about this. Okay, let's run through a few examples here. Think about the president of the United States. I'm not talking about the who's in office now or who was in office last, like Trump or Biden or whatever. I'm talking about the office of the president, right? Think about any person that's ever run for president and ever become president. That individual is usually disliked by half the country, hated by probably 25, 30% of the country, but disliked probably by half the country. By the time they leave office, they're probably disliked by over 60% of the country, right? And there's maybe a small percent that actually really, really love that individual, 20, 30, 40%, right? Now, the point of that is that individual won the most competitive race on the planet, right? Becoming the president of the United States is probably the most difficult thing that can happen. It's the most important job in the world. And every 4 years, somebody becomes president who is just totally hated by tens of millions of Americans, right? Think about Coke or Pepsi, right? Think about Apple, Microsoft, right? Well, now you can go, Apple, Google, whatever you want to throw in there. There are people that if you say at a restaurant, I'll have a Coke, and they say, we sell Pepsi products here, they have a reaction. They're like, oh, Pepsi? I'll have a water, right? There's tens of millions of people in America, and probably hundreds of millions around the world who that's the reaction. Like, no, I'm a Coke person, or vice versa, I'm a Pepsi person, right? Same thing with Apple, right? If you're an Apple person, the thought of using a Google product on the phone side or a Microsoft product is like crazy. It's blasphemy. It's like me personally, I only use Apple devices. I'll never use another device, at least unless something groundbreaking happens. And again, the reason I'm saying this, the reason I'm sharing these examples is because these companies are some of the biggest companies in the world. They have trillions of dollars in market cap. And they were able to achieve that with a lot of people hating them, not just disliking them, but hating them. Now, the point is when you're polarizing, this is the mistake that a lot of marketers make, is they are afraid to make anybody upset. They are afraid that if they go for an angle, if they try to be creative, they try to do something edgy, pushy, right? They might piss a few people off. They might push some people away. They might get some angry comments. They might get some angry feedback. They might get some angry emails. And so instead of that, they decide to try to please everybody. And that is an impossible task. You cannot please everybody. You cannot be liked by everybody. What you can do is create something that is so generic and bland that nobody even thinks about or has an opinion on it. But that's not the same as being liked. That's just being ignored, right? So a lot of marketers make that miscalculation. They think, hey, I'm going to just go super, super generic, super, super broad, right? I'm going to throw a basic image up there, a stock photo kind of image. I'm going to use really generic copy, product X does Y, 50% off today, link, right? That's their ad copy. And it's nobody likes it. Nobody comments on it. Nobody shares it. The CPMs are high. The CPCs are high, right? It's garbage. It doesn't work. It doesn't resonate with anybody because you're not speaking to anybody, right? If you're not, here's the rule of thumb. If you aren't pissing people off, if you aren't pushing some people away, you're not magnetizing. You're not bringing anybody to you. That's the trade-off you're making. So when you create something that's a little edgy, that's a little, a little humor to it, pushes somebody, pushes some feathers there, like you are going to be magnetic to one group. One group is going to resonate with you really, really strongly because they like that and nobody else is speaking to that group, right? And again, you go back to some of these amazingly fast-growing D2C brands that have entered incredibly saturated markets and blown up. They did that because the big old school brands, the Fortune 500 brands that dominate these markets, they had to be boring, right? These big conglomerates, right, that don't want to be edgy, don't want to risk anything, they have to be boring. They have to play it safe, right? And so these upstarts come in over the last decade and they create these pockets where they go after a certain demo. They go after the millennials, now the Gen Zs, and they put humor and sass and personality into their ads. They put an actual face to it. They put a brand to it, right? And people resonate. And again, sure, there are going to be people that's like, that's stupid. I hate this company. I hate what they're doing, right? But there's also people over here that are going to love it. And when I'm thinking about being successful, when I'm thinking about building a successful business, you don't need to have, like, look, America has 360 plus, 370 plus million people in it, right? You don't need to have all of them be your customers, right? You don't need to have all those individuals buy your product. You can build a massive business with just a few million loyal customers, a massive business. You could build a really, really big business with just a few 100,000 loyal customers. You could build a pretty successful, pretty awesome business with just tens of thousands of loyal customers, right? So everyone thinks like, I need billions of customers. I need the entire population of the world to be my customer. I need 300 plus million Americans to be my customer to be successful, to go public, to make a fortune, become a billionaire, right? Or even just a millionaire. No. There are companies out there that have tens of thousands of hyper loyal customers who buy again and again and again. They're on continuity. They're on rebill. They tell their friends. The word of mouth is crazy high. Those companies make fortunes. Those companies are fabulously successful. Their owners are fabulously wealthy, right? And I can tell you firsthand from political businesses, having a customer list of 50, 60, 70,000 hyper loyal customers is incredibly lucrative, okay? So what I want you to think about going forward, when you're thinking about your marketing in 2022 and beyond, depending on whenever you see this video, maybe you see this video in the future, a year, 2 years from now, right? Is think about ways that you can add personality to your brand, to your client. What can you do with the advertising? What can you do with the brand? What can you do with the messaging that is going to really resonate with a pocket of customers? That's going to speak personally and passionately and deeply to a certain group of people. Don't try to speak to everybody because you will speak to nobody. I love saying that, right? And it's the truth. If you try to speak to everybody, if you try to win everyone over, you will speak to nobody and you will capture nobody. You will get no repeat business. You will get no loyal customers, right? So that is my message for you today. And again, if you can do this, if you can think of angles, if you can be, edgy, if you can separate yourself from the ego of having people say they don't like it, you're going to make so much more money and you're going to ensure that you have skills that will continue to be valuable and even more valuable despite automation, AI, machine learning, saw all this stuff taking more and more of the media buying job and landscape out of our hands, right? So that's all I have for today. Again, just to recap, Don't be afraid to be polarizing. Don't be afraid to push people away. Don't be afraid to be edgy. Don't be afraid to get negative comments. Don't be afraid to get people hating on you because, again, you are going to be speaking to a group just as passionately. It's going to have the exact opposite reaction, and they're going to buy from you. They're going to love you. They're going to do whatever you ask them to do. And that's who you should want. That's the type of brand you should want to build. That is the type of brand that's going to make you a fortune in the coming years. So, as always, guys, if you're enjoying these videos, if you like these tips, make sure to subscribe button, make sure to hit that little bell so you get all my notifications, and I'll see you on the next video. Thanks, guys.